Hello, everybody.
Hello. Hello.
Welcome to this. So this is a brand new experiment for us. It is incredibly lo-fi, as we like to say here. My name is Chris Fusco. I am the executive editor of the Press Democrat, and we are making Press Democrat history today, with our first installment of our Tastemakers series, leading up to the North Coast Wine and Food Festival. So this is the first of 5 virtual events we're going to be doing. Your login today allows you to get access to all of them. Pauline Lhote, Lauren Kershner, owner of Songbird, and Eric Moulton, who is her head chef, we're all here. They are in much better position than I am because they all have Pauline's award-winning wine in front of them. And I do not, because I got to do this journalism thing today. So everybody, I'm glad they were able to get together and taste the wine in advance. And we're going to dive right in. I'm going to ask them a few questions. And then if you all have questions, if you could just keep your mute on or keep quiet while we're doing it, we'll let you ask some questions of our top winemaker and our top chef and our top chef owner, or top restaurant owner at the end. So Pauline, let's get started with you. I was reading Sarah Doyle's story over the weekend, and this is like beautiful because you won the sparkling wine. You were best in show for sparkling wine, and you are from Champagne,
Yes,
and not the American one, the French one. So
right, right.
tell us a little bit about your journey to becoming a winemaker.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first of all, I should have sent you a bottle so you could have joined us in the tasting today. So I will make sure to fix that.
Okay.
So there is not such a thing as American champagne. So all champagne are from Champagne, France. I grew up in that region. My parents are farmers. So I always grew up with a sense of terroir, hard work, farming. And at age 14, I told my parents I wanted to be a winemaker. So for me, it was growing up in Champagne. It was never about making still wine. I always wanted to make bubbles. Obviously, I thought I would be making champagne all my life. But I came in the United States back in 2006, so it's been 19 years actually on Cinco de Mayo. And I joined Chandon for a 3 month internship and never left. So I started as an intern, made my way up to assistant winemaker, then winemaker, and then became winemaking director in 2016. I worked at the mother company because Chandon is part of the LVMH group or Moët Hennessy, and its parent company is Moët et Chandon, so the champagne Moët et Chandon. And there I am, a sparkling winemaker, crafting sparkling wine in Yountville in California.
Very cool. Very cool. All right. So, Lauren, I'm going to flip over to you now. So, tell us a little bit about your background in the restaurant industry and when you opened Songbird.
Yeah, so I also knew I wanted to be a chef when I was young. I went to culinary school in Portland, Oregon when I was 18, and I wanted to move right to Napa Valley and just work in some of the best restaurants in the world, arguably. And so I did that, kind of bounced around some of the Michelin places, and at the young age of about 25, I was the executive chef of Beltane Ranch here in Sonoma Valley. And I just fell in love with the very farm to table, family owned culture that they preserved there. We would walk right out to the garden and select the vegetables we wanted to cook that day. It was very enlivening. I really loved it. I actually got to live on the property there. It was a whole thing. But so I've been in Glen Ellen ever since, and that was about 8 years ago. So I started out on my own as a private chef, doing just that, sourcing the local farms and really speaking about the people behind it and the family-owned places and why I love Sonoma so much. And that just kind of took off, and I started growing my team. We needed a bigger kitchen, and that's how I ended up in the Songbird Parlour space 4 years ago. And we actually just opened up to the public just 6 months ago as a restaurant. So, yeah.
Awesome. So, how did you link up with Chef Eric?
Yeah. So, oh, and before we go further, I just want to give a shout out. He might be embarrassed by this, but his mom's here. That makes me so
Oh
happy.
boy, well
Hi, Eric's mom.
we're pro mom here at the Press Democrat, especially en route to Mother's Day weekend. So
Yeah.
we're pro mom. Nice to see you, Barbara.
Yeah, well, so I'll let Eric tell a little bit too, but
Yeah,
he's
tell us
also
a little
from
bit about your path,
the
Chef.
area.
Yeah, grew up mostly up here, just down the road in Kenwood. And Lauren and I linked up last year. I was doing high volume catering down in the Presidio in San Francisco and got the opportunity to do something a little more organic and a lot closer to home. And it seemed like a great fit. So when we talked a few times and had a few interviews, and I was pretty sold pretty quickly. So
Okay, very cool. What will now you all is this going to be your first appearance at the festival coming up? Have you ever served there before, Lauren?
Yeah, we were there the last 2 years.
Okay,
2 or 3
okay,
years. Yeah. Yeah, we
excellent.
love it. Super
All
fun.
right. Yeah, it is a great event. And I'm gonna ping pong back to Pauline here. So Pauline, how many years had you entered the North Coast Wine Challenge before, or is this the first time for you all?
No, it is not the first time. And a few years ago, we also did win with another wine, which was our Reserve Pinot Noir Rosé. Obviously,
Okay.
this year was super excited to have the best sparkling. So it's always a fantastic competition that we always want to be part of. But no, we've been doing it for a few years now.
Okay, okay. So tell me about your wine. What makes your wine special?
Yeah, absolutely. So actually this one that we have, so it's called Étoile, which means star in French. And it is a hot star, so it's part of what we call the pinnacle tier. So it is a prestige cuvée. It is a wine that comes from our own vineyards. I think what is important about Étoile is a wine about no compromise. So it's about a wine that there is no rules, nothing in order to make this wine. So we have the complete freedom to do this. I'm actually the fourth winemaker for Chandon, the fourth head winemaker, and the first one, her name was Donine Dyer. And when I talk about Étoile, I always love to talk about Donine, just because she was the one that actually initiated this wine. And for when you a winery, you're mature enough to have your prestige cuvée. You start with launching a few wine, and then you go up in the portfolio. And when you're ready to do your prestige cuvée, she wanted to make sure that every year we craft the best wine that we could. So she never wanted to put rules or anything that would guide how we would make the wine. So it doesn't need to be a Blanc de Blanc. It doesn't need to be. So it is a blend of typically 3 varieties that we use for hot sparkling wine, which is Chardonnay, Pinot Noir, and there is a little bit of Meunier. It is a multi-vintage, which means that it doesn't need to be one specific vintage, because she realized that blending was at the heart of making sparkling wine. And when you blend a vintage, you can only blend the component of that specific vintage. But she considered that reserve wine that we craft and we age, we use for consistency, is something that she actually wanted to use as part of her prestige cuvée. And this is something that I've been carrying on through the years. So as a matter of fact, in a bottle of Étoile Brut that I have right there, you have a lot of different vintages. Sometimes it can be up to 8 or 12 different vintages.
Wow.
In the bottle. And the reserve wine just add layers of complexity. So the style of this wine is about being very elegant, very refined, yet it's complex and powerful. And those are two things, being elegant and powerful are two things like really hard to put together. And the idea is to have a wine that you can just enjoy as is, as an aperitif. So it's a wine that has 5 years of aging. So every wines we make at Chandon are with a traditional method, which means that every single bottle has gone through their fermentation in that bottle. And after the fermentation, we leave the yeast that have done the fermentation in contact with the wine. And that maturation is what will develop all those yeasty, brioche, baked apple aroma. And only time can make those aromas. So sparkling wine is always about patience and maturation. So this wine is made from the Carneros region, mostly from the Sonoma part of Carneros, because our winery was established in 1973, vineyards planted way before the appellation of Carneros even existed. And actually Chandon, our farm, is in the middle of the country line between Sonoma County and Napa, and most of our vineyard is in Sonoma.
Okay. Now, how will that, if you were to send me a bottle of that wine, or I was going to acquire it, how should I let it age? Should I drink it right away? What should I do with it?
Yeah, so I've told you that we've aged the wine for 5 years
Right.
in the bottle at the winery. So this is before we remove the yeast, do what we call the disgorging and dosage. Then once you have it, if you know how long the wine has been aged, there is actually a good rule that you could keep it for twice the time that is spent in the bottle. So
Oh,
2 to
okay.
3 times is actually a good. So a bottle of Etoile, you could keep it as long as 10, 15 years. Yet something to remember with sparkling wine is like we age the wine for you. So when you actually find it on the shelf, it's ready to drink. So you can just enjoy it at that moment. And as you keep it longer in your cellar, then you will have a lot more toastier notes because it will evolve with cork time. But you always just need to remember that if it's on the shelf, you can just pop the bottle and just enjoy it at any time.
All right. So I'm going to turn over now to chefs Eric and Lauren, who are drinking the wine as we speak. So this is like real time. Tell us what you think of the wine.
Um,
Please be
it's
nice.
definitely got a lot of those notes. I get the apple, I get the toastiness, I get a little caramel in there, which is nice. It's a lot more interesting than just, a bone dry bottle of brut. And you can tell it's got some age to it. So it's well-rounded, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Boy,
Really nice.
you think you've tasted wine before or something. Lauren, how can you top that? That was pretty
Yeah.
good.
No, I mean, he's kind of hit the nail on the head. I think for me, it's even more special because I know she's from Champagne and all of the hard work and the age that went into it. I didn't know when I first had a sip, so it tastes even better with the story behind it, honestly.
All right. So now I read that Pauline thinks that this wine would go great with fried chicken. I read that in the Press Democrat. And of course, we only print the truth in the Press Democrat, by the way. So I was wondering on your end, what do you all think? And generally not just with this wine, but sparkling in general, what food goes great with sparkling wine?
I mean, traditionally you're looking at, oysters, chilled seafoods, caviars, roes. I think one of the dishes we have in our menu, and a version of that dish will be featured at the North Coast Wine and Food, is Pacific halibut crudo. A little bit of fattiness to the fish, which this will stand up to nicely. We make seasonal granitas. Right now it's a blood orange granita, but we also infuse some dried hot chilies in that to give it a little bit of heat, open up the palate. Not spicy, but just some background warmth there. So I think it would pair really nicely with that. But we also do a fried chicken night once a week at our restaurant.
Oh, what night is that?
And that's on Sunday nights every week.
Sunday night. It's on my list.
So on Thursdays at Chandon, we do a fried chicken as well. And it's one of my favorite food and wine pairing. I think like when you have a sparkling wine which has bright acidity, also creaminess, but like the acidity really help to like cut any like fatty dishes, and the fried chicken with the crunchiness, the bright acidity, it's just an amazing pairing. But you're right. I mean, oysters, seafood, fish. But I think what I love the most about sparkling wine is it's so versatile, and you can, the possibility are endless. You can pair it with almost anything. The only thing that I would say to avoid is anything that is spicy, because then it has a tendency to not go well, Or if you want sparkling wine with spicy food, then you need to have a wine that has a bit sweeter dosage, but because that will help a lot. So demi-sec type sparkling with spicy food is a good pairing.
Okay. So Pauline, where can they buy the wine? Where can folks buy the wine, and how can they visit your winery?
Yeah. So where you can buy the wine, if you're online shoppers, then that's easy. You go to the Chandon website. So it's chandon.com, and you can just order it online. Or actually, we're local, so we are in Yountville, we're in Napa. So just on the other side of Trinity Road. So, or you don't have to take Trinity Road if you don't want to have that windy road. But come and visit us in Yountville. That's where the winery is at. That's where we craft our wine, and that's where you can find them. Then you could actually find it in some selected retailers. Yet this wine is actually a preview. So we've changed the packaging on Etoile. So for now, you won't find it in stores. So you really need to come and visit us or on the website.
Okay. And then Chef Eric, this is going to be a two-part question. So what will you be serving? Have you decided what you're going to be serving at the Wine and Food Festival in June?
Yeah, we're going to be doing a version of our halibut crudo dish. But here at the restaurant, as well as with our catering, we kind of like to see what's looking really good at our local farms and the local farmers markets in the weeks leading up to, making any sort of decisions on that sort of thing. There will be some sort of local fruit on there, a granita of some sort, but the exact details on that, we're going to probably wait and see what looks really good that week.
Okay, very good, very good. I know it's got to be challenging given the volume of people and estimating and all those things, but something tells me not your first rodeo for either of you by any stretch of the imagination. How can people visit Songbird? Tell us a little bit about your hours of operation and all that stuff.
Yeah, so we're open for dinner service Wednesday through Sunday, 5 till 8:30 or 9 or so. We do have just 42 seats, so reservations are recommended as we do get busy on the weekends. But yeah, we're in Glen Ellen. We're in the Jack London Village, a very historic building. You might have drove by if you've driven on Arnold. But it's a cool complex to explore. There's a couple of winery tasting rooms and shopping here too. So yeah.
Love Glen Ellen. I'm not too far down the road in East Santa Rosa. So
Okay, yeah, worth the drive for sure.
all right. So hey, man, we're like right on schedule. You all are really good. 18 minutes. Woody, I know Woody Moskers. He's a fellow Chicagoan. I've got my flag, but go ahead, Woody. What's your question? And also a quick plug for Woody. Woody has his own food blog called Woody's Wine, which you can Google. But anyhow, go ahead, Woody.
I'm holding up what is a Chandon club card.
Yeah.
Pauline, it's older than you are. I was a member since 1988. Okay. And I know Dwayne, I'm sorry, Ms. Dwyer, by the way. There used to be wonderful events. They would come to take us out on cruises on Lake Michigan and pour all the wine. We served, this is when it was just Domaine Chandon. It was just the single label. And it was still of the Caneros designation. We served it at our wedding in 1986 in magnums. It was that reasonably priced at the time. So, and we were just recently at the winery and did the tasting of the different regions where you make wine from. And that was my question. What is the challenge there in deciding which goes into which of the blends in those 4 different wines that were at the tasting?
Yeah. Well, first of all, thank you for sharing your story and your connection with Chandon. That's really cool. I am older than 88, by the way.
Oh, I'm a lot older than 88, but that's beside the point.
Not that much. I'm in the 80s indeed. Or born in the 80s. So for Chandon, we have different tiers of wine. So what we call the signature tier, then we have a root tier, and then what we're tasting today, which is pinnacle tier. We do have sourcing from 3 of our estates, which is Carneros. We have about 800 acres of land in Carneros, so quite a big ranch there. We're also in Yonville around the property, and then on Montveter, that's where we have like one of our oldest vineyard that is 44 years old and has Chardonnay there. So this is our estates property, but we also have been working for many, many years with long-term partners and farmers over the years. So what makes us decide what goes into each wine? It's really the style of each wine, each product. So we have a Brut and Rosé, for example, being part of our signature, which are very about trying to capture the California brightness, the California essence into the glass. So on these wines, we want to have intensity of flavor, juiciness, vibrancy, what really captures California spirits. When it comes to Étoile, we want to have wine that has ageability, that have what we call direct, so that really nice brightness to them. That refined aroma, that so depending on the style of the wine you will make, then you decide what goes into the blend. What you've tasted at the winery, it's part of what we call our terroir series. So the terroir series is actually, we take one vintage, so those wines only have to be that specific vintage, and we actually showcase the difference between those terroirs. In the past, Chandon used to have one vintage, and for me, when I joined the winery, I understood the notion of terroir growing up in Europe, and I really thought that you had a lot more discrepancy between vintages back in Europe. And I think for me, what I thought that the real story was about terroir in California. As I arrived here, I realized there is no other region than Napa Valley where you can make such a diversity of wine. When you're thinking about it, you can make Chardonnay, still wine. You can make some Pinot, so it's kind of like your Burgundy region. Obviously, we're showing you that we can craft sparkling wine. Obviously, it's also a region that is well known for Cabernet, Petit Verdot, like so on and so forth. So it's a region where you have such difference of wine style. And the only way it's possible, because you can really, in that small region, which is the same size almost as Champagne, you can make up pretty much the region of France. I take France as a reference because that's what I know most, but it could be the case in other countries. So for me, I was fascinating of the fact that you can make such a diversity of wine in such a small region. And I wanted to showcase actually in different wines what the terroir does. So if you take Carneros, it's crisp, it's bright, it's zesty. Actually, you have the opposite on Yonville. Yonville is very deep, very more powerful, more generous wine. You have some herbal character, plum character, so maybe more mature elements. And then Montveter is your concentration, high altitude vineyard. So for me, this is what I wanted to highlight in those wines. And I think all the decisions are made in terms of blending, and you have to make the choice of, am I representing the style from year on year?
We enjoy the Yountville quite a bit, and it's featured in my current Woody's Wine at woodythewineguy.com. That experience, amongst other things that are going on. Thank you very much. It was quite interesting today.
You're welcome.
Nice job, Chris.
All right. Anybody have any other questions for our top chefs or top winemaker? All right. All right. Pauline, the one thing you talked about Napa, but I think some of our Sonoma folks might try to challenge you. What do you, any of the three of you, let's end on that one. What do you think of the rivalry between Napa and Sonoma wine? Is there a rivalry out there? I want to let the chefs go first.
Ooh. I don't know about the wine so much. I mean, and culturally speaking, there's a lot of diversity. But it's just so gorgeous here in Sonoma, and it's so gorgeous in Napa too. Honestly, like they're both worth a visit. I think there's probably more experience and history in winemaking in Napa, so they might have like a leg above Sonoma at the moment, but Sonoma's definitely getting there. We have a lot of talent coming in, and I mean, what do you think? Is that?
Yeah, I mean, you grow a cab here and you grow a cab there, they're different animals.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's necessarily direct competition stylistically, but I know there's a lot of pride on both sides of the hill, both in the wine industry and the culinary industry. So
Definitely. And I think both regions are amazing as it is. Like for me, I love going to Sonoma. It's a different vibe. I think I like it feels more like close to farming, close to like the roots. And as I mentioned, like Chandon, most of our vineyard in Kershner is actually from Sonoma, and we're super proud of that heritage. Like we built our vineyard before the appellation was actually cut into those two counties. And it really doesn't matter because we love farming grapes from that Kershner region. But I like also the fact that we have two wine regions that are so close to each other. And then when you actually go, on that road that I've mentioned, Trinity Road, it's great that you have two different experiences. And I think for me, that's I love the fact that we make wines and obviously have an amazing food in both regions, but also we have the same passion, yet we'll do it a little bit differently, which I think is really cool.
Very cool. All right. Well, we are right up upon our half hour. I am jealous with the beverages that Lauren, Pauline, and Chef Eric get to enjoy at their lunch. I will get on. This is by far the most fun I am going to have all day, I must say. But if you want to have more fun, please join us at the North Coast Wine and Food Festival on June 14th, where you can taste this delicious food that Chef Eric's going to cook up and get a sampling of Pauline's winning wine. Tickets are available at northcoastwineandfood.com. So we will see you there. Also, just I asked my Napa Sonoma question because obviously a lot of folks know the PD, our roots are in Santa Rosa, but we are really trying to get over that hill and really expand our Napa County coverage. So tell your friends in Napa, we are 7-day home delivery there, and of course, always 24/7 online at pressdemocrat.com. Chef Eric, Lauren, winemaker Pauline, thank you. We're off to a good start with tastemakers, thanks to the three of you. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having us.
cheers. Thank
All
you.
right,
Thank you for
we'll
having
see you
us.
on
Thank you
June
for having us.
14th.
See ya.
That's
Take care,
great.
everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.